So we want to understand vectors in mathematics. So from definition, we know that a vector is a quantity that has got both magnitude and a direction. So that is what we call as a vector. Any quantity with both magnitude and direction is called a vector. Now, when you've been given a coordinate, let's say for example they've given you a coordinate A and they've said A is 2, comma 3. Like this is called the coordinate. If you want to write A as a vector should have a beginning point and an ending point. So in this case, whenever you're writing vectors, it starts from the origin, and the origin is the point 0. So I'm going to write it as 0, and then you're going to write A. You are going to put a line on top, okay, to mean direction. It is coming from 0 to A. So that is a vector A. So to write it as a vector, this one is given as a coordinate. As a vector, write it as a column matrix. So this number which is first, you are going to write it on top. The one which is following, you are going to write it down. So like this, you've written it as a vector. You can also write a vector by using a small letter. So if this is A, I'm going to use a small letter A. And then I'm going to put a dash down. And then I'm going to write 2, 3, like that. So this is how we get to write vectors. Okay, that's how we represent vectors when you want them. So from here we are able to put this vector on a number line like that. This I mean on the x or y plane, not number line. This is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. 2 comma 3 might be something like this, 2 here, 3 here, and then this is going to be the point 2 comma 3. Okay, that is a point as a coordinate. But to write it as a vector, we are going to start from the origin. This is the point we call the origin, 0 comma 0. Then we are going to join this with a line like that. I'm going to put an arrow in that direction. So this is the vector now, vector A. So that is how we write a vector. It has a magnitude and direction. Okay, magnitude and direction. The arrow is representing direction. The magnitude, it might be maybe 20 newtons or 30 meters. Just this number is what represents magnitude. Magnitude is just how big something is. Okay, now let's say we've been given 2 points. Let's say we have point P and point Q. Let's say point P has been given as 3 comma 1, and then we've been given point Q, which is also given as let's say 4 comma 2. Let's try to put these on a Cartesian plane, on the x or y plane. We see how they are going to be. So here is the x-axis and there is the y-axis. So for point P we have got 3 comma 1. So here's the point. Okay, that's the point P. And then for Q, that is 4 comma 2. Here should be 4, and then 2 is going to be somewhere here. So the coordinate is going to be somewhere there, that is Q. Well, these are written as coordinates, but we can write them as vectors. How? You are going to join, starting from the middle here, you are going to join these like that. And also the other one, you're also going to join it, starting from the middle, like that. Okay, now let me change so that it will be much better. Let me put this as 4 comma 4, so that at least this number is going to be on top. Okay, to be somewhere there. So meaning that the coordinate is going to be 4 comma 4, be somewhere here. Okay, so to write it as a vector, we'll start from the beginning there, and then we are going to go up to that point like that. So that's Q. So as a vector, we're going to put an arrow starting from the center, 0 comma 0, like that. Yes. Yes.
Let me see where there's 3 comma 1.
Mm.
So that means we have to put h1 y1.
So in this case, this one which is 3 comma 1, the first value is the x value, the second value is the y value. So always the you seen that the x value is the 3, so that is the 3 we've put here. The y value is 1, that's the one we've put there, and then where they are going to intersect is somewhere there.
Okay.
Okay. So from here what we are able to join the point P and the point Q. Okay, we are able to join these two lines. So what happens when we join them? Let's say we start from this point up to here. So you've seen we have joined those two values or those 2 points. So in this case, depending with the direction. So if I want PQ, okay, if I want PQ, you've seen the direction PQ, then I'm starting from P going to what? Going to Q. So I'm going to put an arrow going up like that. If I want QP, it's going to be different. Then I'm going to start from Q going to P. So the arrow is going to be in this direction. Now what I want you to see is this. The question is, how can we find the PQ? Okay, that's the question. How can we find PQ? So from what you are able to see here, to find PQ, so PQ is how can you move from P going to Q? That's the question. How can you find P going to Q? Okay, so to be able to find PQ, let's say since we said P is a 3 comma 1 and this is what we have seen 3 comma 1, so I can give this one a small p. Okay, since this is vector p, I'll give it a small p with a dash down. That's how we represent vectors. And then since we said 4 comma 4 is q, let me give this one a small q and then put a dash down to represent vector q. Okay, meaning that from this point going up to this point, that is vector q. So that's why I've put just a small q to mean that vector. Now if I want to find PQ, how can I move from P to Q? So think of this. You want to move maybe from uh from your house to town. Maybe there's no road here. There's no direct road. So you might first go in the road, okay? You take the route that is clear and then you reach to town. So we want to move from this point P to the point Q. But direct here, there's no road. What I mean by that is, you see, we don't have any number here. That's what I mean, okay? We don't have any number there. So we are going to use a route that is going to give us numbers at least. So the first thing that we are going to do for us to move from P to Q is we are first going to move from P to O, and then we are going to move from O to Q. That's how we are going to go because we know this distance and we also know this distance. So when you are talking about vectors, all you do is you take the route that you know. So for us to move from P to Q, we'll first go in this direction because that's where we know the road. If we just go direct, we don't know the road. So I'm saying we're going to move from P to O. I'm going to put an arrow on top, and then we are going to move now from O to Q. Okay, so we have reached now our destination. We have moved from point P to point Q, reaching our destination. Do you get that? Do you have a question?
No question.
Okay, now the question is, what is PO? So when you are talking about PO like this, it's the same as the OP, okay? But we are just going to put a negative in front here. Why are we saying that? Remember, vectors are quantities with both magnitude or size and direction. So PO is more like going behind, and then OP is going in front. So you see these two are the same, but they are in different directions. So to differentiate the directions, you put a negative there. That's why we are saying PO is the same as negative OP. So I can also write this as PQ is equal to negative PO. Okay, I put an arrow and then plus OQ like that, plus OQ. So we are able to also write it like that. So PO is the same as negative. Sorry, I've written PO instead of OP here. Okay, PO is the same as negative OP because they're opposite in direction, and then I'm going to say plus OQ like that. Is this okay? Does it make sense?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay, I can again write this as PQ is equal to, I'm going to start with this one because it's positive. So I'm going to say PQ is equal to OQ, and then I'll write this one which is negative minus OP. So this is how we are able to express PQ. Okay, this one is very very important for you to know, especially for paper one. So we're going to say PQ is equal to, what is OQ? We go to OQ. So OQ, you are able to see that OQ is Q. So we are going to put Q here minus, what is OP? OP, you are able to see is what? A small p. So then we have found the vector PQ. So the vector PQ is Q minus P. That is how you are able to find the vector PQ. What if we wanted to find the vector QP? How can we find it? So if you look at where Q is here, and then P is here. Meaning that I'll first move from Q to O, and then I'll move from O to P. So that will be the vector QP. So we're going to say QP is QO and then plus OP. Okay. Now, if we look at QO, what is QO? QO is from here up to here. It is what? It is Q. Okay, it is Q. A small Q like that. But look, the arrow is going up, but as we are moving going down. Because we are moving going down, but the arrow is going up, we are going to put a negative here. So QO is negative Q, but OQ is positive Q. So that is one thing you need to pay attention to. And then plus. Now we go to OP. What is OP? OP is starting from O here up to P there. We can see that is also where the arrow is going. So it will just be positive P. It is going to be positive P like that. I can also start first by writing the one which is positive, which is the P, and then writing the one which is negative, which is the Q. So this is the QP. So you see that QP and PQ, they are just opposites of each other. They are just opposites of each other. So we can say that PQ is just negative QP. That is what you need to know. If you change the direction of vectors, then you just attach a negative. That's the thing. Okay, do you have a question before we go further? Any question? Is it okay?
Yes.
All right. So you find most of these questions in paper one. Let's say you've been given that A is let's say 2 comma 1, and vector AB is 3 comma 2. Find the coordinates of B. Okay, you find this question in paper 1. Given the point A is 2 comma 1 and the vector AB is 3 comma 2 or 3 2, find the coordinates of vector B. So the question is, how are we able to find that? So you need to know this just from the formula that we wrote. Every time when you're talking about a vector, if you are talking of the vector AB, you are always going to get O. Okay, you get O. You always start with this one which has been given second. Okay, you are going to say OB, and then minus, you write again O, and then you write this one which was given first. Always. Okay, so if you are talking about vector xy, so vector xy is equal to, you first write O and then you write the second thing that is given here, which is y. Always put a minus, so minus, you write again O. Now you write the first thing which was given here, which is x, like that. So this is how you are able to find xy. So after writing this, now you put what is AB. Vector AB they've given us is this one, so we're going to write it here, 3 2, and this is going to be equal to, what is OB? We don't know OB, that's what we want to find, so we're going to write OB like that, minus, what is OA? OA, we are able to see it is 2 comma 1, but now since we are dealing with vectors here, write it as a vector, so 2 comma 1 will be written as 2 and the one down here as a vector. Okay, don't write a coordinate, you write them as vectors because we wrote OA as a vector like that. So I'm going to take this one, this side is going to become positive because here it is negative, so it becomes 3 2 plus 2 1, that is going to be equal to OB. I can also start by writing OB, so I'll say OB is equal to, so now we start adding, you add those which are on top alone, so it will be 3 plus 2, so 3 plus 2, that is a 5, and then you say 2 plus 1, you add those which are down alone, that is going to give us a 3. Okay, so this is the vector. If the question was saying find the vector OB, then you are going to leave this as the answer. But since the question was saying find the coordinates of B, a coordinate is written as 2 x comma y, so we're going to say therefore B, the coordinate of B is going to be, now we write this is going to be 5 comma 3, like this. So if you don't give this answer, you just end here, they are going to remove 1 mark if it is like that. So make sure that you write, if they've asked you to write a coordinate, write this. If they asked you to write a vector, write this.
Okay. So I have a question.
Okay,
So for OP is equals to 5/3 bracket. So I have to write like this the answers before your turn.
yes.
Uh, not P comma 5 comma 3.
So
This one.
i- i-
This one.
if they ask you to find the coordinate, if you just see this word coordinate, you always need to give this one, you write it as a coordinate 5 comma 3. If they ask you to write a vector, if they said find the vector B, then you're supposed to give this one, that's the answer.
Okay.
Yes. Do you have any other question?
No questions.
Okay, let's look at another example.
Okay.
Okay, we have got this question. Given that A, which is 2 comma 3, and B, which is negative 1 comma 4, are coordinates, find vector BA. Okay, find vector BA. This is going to be the first question. Find vector BA, and then the second one, we are going to find the magnitude. We are going to put like this. Okay, let me just write magnitude of BA. Okay, let's look at these two questions. So starting with the first one, we want to find BA. Remember, every time we want to find, so in this case BA is going to be equal to, we are going to say O first, and then we write the second thing that is being given. So that will be OA, and then minus, we write again O. Now we write the first thing that is given, which is a B, like that. Okay, so and then we'll say what is OA is this one. So if you say OA, then write it as a vector. So you write 2 and then 3. Okay, minus what is OB, write also as a vector. So that will be -1 and a 4. Okay, so to find BA, we are going to start with what is on top. We write 2 minus what? Minus -1. And then we come down, you have got a 3 minus 4. We also write that. So 3 minus 4. So if we set 2 minus -1, that will give us a 3. 3 minus 4, that is going to give us a -1. Okay. So this is the vector BA we have found. Now the second one is asking us to find the magnitude of BA. At times we are going to see it has been given as find BA like this. And then they've put the BA in these lines, two lines like this. It also means magnitude. It's the same thing. So if you see they've given you to find something like that in these lines, or they've just said magnitude, is the same thing. So to be able to find the magnitude of BA, all you do is you are going to get these points, get the x value here that you have found, which is a 3. You are going to square it, and then plus get also the y value here that you have found, which is a -1, and then also square it, and then the answer that you get, you are now going to square root. So this is going to be 3 squared, which is a 9, plus -1 squared. Always put this in brackets. If you don't put it in brackets, you're going to get a wrong number. -1 squared is a +1. So this is going to give us a square root of 10. Since in paper 1 you don't use a calculator, just end here. Okay, square root of 10. If you want, you can just put the word unit. Square root of 10 units. So that is going to be the answer. So what are we saying? Magnitude. So if you've been given a coordinate A, which is it can be a coordinate to a vector, which is x, y, or okay, in this case I've written it as a vector, or it is a coordinate A, which is x comma y. To find the magnitude of A is given by x squared plus y squared, and then you square root the answer that you get. So this is the formula for magnitude. Are we good with that?
Yes. And I have a question.
Yes.
Is it paper one, paper two?
These type of questions are going to find them in paper 1. The paper 2 one is the one I'm starting now.
Okay, so you can use calculator, right?
Hmm?
You can use a calculator.
No, there's no calculator in paper 1.
Uh,
Yeah. Okay, so this is the one that we're going to be dealing with in paper 1.